You know, I think the thing that's really fascinating about the zombie apocalypse is that in some ways it is something that's taking place in our world. It's actually something that we can imagine happening. You know, we have epidemics, we have viruses and stuff like that in our world, and I think that there's something that's very, very simple about the idea of a virus that turns people into monsters, and then you have to kill these monsters. So I think that from there are a million different ways that people can interpret and find new nuances of how the zombie apocalypse works, different rules, different types of things. You know, we study this very, very carefully, and we do a ton of research on all these different licenses, franchises, and things that are out there. And one of the things that we always are amazed by is how the little changes in the rules can make a huge difference in how the world feels. You know, if zombies, if somebody dies and they get up right away, that's a whole different feeling from a world where it takes, you know, 6 hours for a zombie to stand up, or 24 hours. You know, so this is exactly the kind of stuff that we feel will keep this genre alive for a very long time, or all the little tiny variations in how it can work. Also, though, you know, the tone of the apocalypse is a huge question. Some people really get into the horrific, you know, personal drama of families being torn apart by the virus in this way. We you know, are preferring to focus on maybe a little bit more of the zombie land, kind of almost the fun side of the apocalypse. You know, once the zombies come out, there's no more worry about the bills that you had to pay or about the fights that you had with your, you know, spouse. It's only about the here and now, taking care of what needs to be done, and that's part of what's so exciting about this genre. So we're not worried about the future at all. You know, I think there are a lot of different things that we watch, and we may pull things from a number of different things in very subtle ways. I think the important thing is that we don't want to be ripping off, we don't want to be copying, but you know, we tune into a lot of stuff. I think there are little pieces of, you know, 28 Days Later to be found. There are little pieces of, you know, Evil Dead, Night of the Living Dead, the classic stuff as well. And I think then we've got a little bit of that more comedy sort of Shaun of the Dead stuff in there too. So there are lots and lots of different influences. I think you know, we do try to keep a little bit of that tongue-in-cheek sort of corniness, that this is a situation that's maybe not totally realistic. It's a little goofy sometimes, a little over the top, but that's exactly what makes it so much fun. I think one of the most important things that I'd love to tell people about you know, games and the work of doing this stuff is that you know, it's a constant process of thinking about, you know, what can be done to push the envelope when there are so many. You know, we want to get the game out eventually. We don't want to keep people waiting forever. And that challenge of kind of thinking about, oh man, you know, what can we do to just push this a little bit more before it's time to go, I think is actually something that a lot of people may not know about game development. That when we're in this process together, it's sometimes even a little agonizing when you have to let go of something at the last minute. You're going, man, I wish we could have just had that one thing. But what's fun actually about doing events like this and getting a chance to interact with the press and getting a chance to interact with the public as well, is when people come up to you and say, oh man, this thing was so cool, and you sometimes are only thinking about the stuff that you couldn't put in. And so I think it's very rewarding to get a chance to meet with guys like you, do interviews, and see that there's still a lot of life in this, even when you're maybe only thinking about the stuff you couldn't do.
And now you have to be a professional fighter. Come and get it!